There we go. That worked. And just like that, we are live on another Tuesday night for Talk Time with TJ, Triple T number 177 on May 20th, 2025. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for showing up. My name is TJ Zebel. I like to call myself a professional problem solver, which I always follow up with, no, I don't know everything. I don't claim to. I don't even know that I would want to. I just have a unique way of asking lots of questions, and I've packed quite a bit into my life, which I've got a number of people that know me well enough to say, yeah, you have. I've even had people this week tell me that I should actually be apparently 300 years old with all the things that I've done. So there's that. For those of you out on YouTube land, hi, Mom. Yep, my mom watches from wonderful Minnesota, Yaden, where I'm from. Now I live in Dallas, Texas, y'all. But for those of you that are on YouTube watching, or if you're watching the recording, please do me a favor and do all the stuff that costs you nothing but sure helps my channel out. Click the subscribe, ring the bell, leave some comments, share the videos with others. Doesn't cost you anything, and it's not for my glory. It's just so we can get the word out, help as many people as possible. I also have a website that you could check out and help other people find. www.thetSWB.com. thetallskinnywhiteboy.com. That's what it stands for, has since I was very young, way before internet. Okay, not way, way before internet, but you know, long enough to where I know what
The World Wide Webs.
I remember when a floppy disk was actually floppy. We'll leave it at that. And for those of you youngins that are watching, Google it. What else? Yes, website. I do offer a free 30-minute consultation. That's right, no charge to you. That is your opportunity to chit-chat with me for 30 minutes and tell me what kind of challenges you have going on. I get to help people with all sorts of groovy stuff that you don't want to carry around, like depression, anxiety, phobias, PTSD, grief, and smoke cessation, weight loss. What else? Yeah, it's the Rolodex. I also get to help a lot of people with finding their person, relationship work, and all the above. And I know I'm leaving something out, so just use your imagination and call me up and see if it's a fit. Two of my promises. One, if I feel that we are a fit and that I can be of assistance in helping you, I will let you know. The other promise, if I feel we are not a fit and I cannot help you, I will let you know, and I will do my best to help you find a person who is a better fit. Bottom line, I want you to get the results that you're looking for, whether it's with me or with somebody else, as long as you get the change that you deserve. And what else we got? Oh, it's time to introduce the tie. And I don't know if we're calling this the end of spring or the start of summer or something like that. Down here in Texas, we're already into storm season and yay and all the above, but it's also time for air shows. Remember out in Cali, we used to have a lot of air shows, and it's getting to be that time. So today's tie.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I love it.
Delivering all sorts of Acme goodness.
I love one Roadrunner trap on there. That's hysterical.
And that is my part. Who's got something fun and exciting they want to share from the last 7 days? We were talking a little bit before the camera went on, so
Oh, I don't know what happened. I have stuff, but I don't know what happened for everybody else.
well, a couple of them will be back in a bit. We got some stuff going on out there.
Okay.
So, what did you want to share?
Ironically enough, I did get to go to an air show over the weekend, which was so much fun. I got to go see the Thunderbirds, something new and exciting. I'm a part of a retreat group, and the more I'm in this group, people are bonding differently, and people are sharing more openly now that we're in about 2 months so far. And it's really inspiring to see other people at a similar point of building their retreat and building their sales page and figuring out and fine tuning. And it's so fun to hear other people's perspectives and then hear what is reflected back to you. So that is great. And
Yeah.
sometime this week, I'm thinking it's tomorrow, my book will finally be published on
Yeah.
Amazon.com. So by this time next week, I will be able to share the link, and I might just go back to 177 and post this link when it comes out tomorrow. So thanks, Holly.
Woot woot. Rock and roll.
I'm super excited. That's
Very
what's new on
cool.
my end. Yeah, very cool.
Anybody else got anything they want to share quick? All right. Well, topics of the week, of the day, of the evening for number 177, close, the end,
Close
and
as in CLOTHES or CLOSE?
yes,
Close. Oh, bananas. This should be interesting.
and roses.
Roses. I do love roses.
So this one is the universe has a unique way of sending me all sorts of people that are in line with the same teaching. It's almost like one starts the class and people sit in. And so this week I have three clients that are thinking it's about time for a job change.
That's
And
fun.
they are not enjoying the idea. They are freaking out. They are having some challenges. And they, my heart goes out to them because for me, it has never really been a challenge. Basically, I guess the way I grew up, I started basically working for somebody else or getting paid to do something when I was like 8 or 10. So it was always in my mind that there will always be somebody out there that will give you money to help them do something. And uh, two of the clients haven't really had that, and they've got great schooling, great marketable skills, even though they don't believe it, and they've run up against what they would, I guess you would call, challenges in the interview. Getting to an interview, getting through the interview, and having troubles understanding why they didn't do as well as they could in the interview.
That's hard.
Yes. And so the reason clothes got picked out is the questions that were coming up was, well, when I went in, they gave me an interview because they had to, and my response was they didn't have to. There was something on the resume that they saw as a need being filled. Well, then what else could it be? I said it can be hundreds of things, because interviewing for a job is an awful lot like dating.
That is true.
You take a look at the outside exterior. Oh, that would be a cool place to work. Oh, that would be a cool title to have. That would be a cool compensation for my time and interest. And yet you still have to want to be a partner. You have to be a match. You have to have similar interests. You have to have similar goals. You have to have a lot of things to get a job, or to get a person, to get a partner. And clothes are just the beginning. One of them was like, I don't want to wear anything uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, I get that. I was a DJ and a photographer and a bartender. Do you think I wear this because I'm like, this is the most comfortable thing I can have to wear? I mean, a button-up shirt and a tie. No, I've had some, because I'm a dude, when you shave and towards the end of the day you get a little bit of growth down there and you start moving around, these collars will not be comfy. And I've worn raw here a couple of times. And so if the job you're looking for has requirements that are going to make you miserable, don't apply. If you see a good-looking person out and about, but you figured out their lifestyle will make you miserable, don't go say hi. Don't
Not the
ask.
casualty. Don't do that.
Don't do that. There are so many options, especially in this day and age if you've got a smartphone. Follow Gary Vaynerchuk as long as you're not offended by cuss words. You'll never get through his stuff because he doesn't give a cuss. He gives a lot of cusses. But he is a major proponent for, if you don't like your job, go find one you like. Oh, but you don't understand. It's this and it's that, and then but no, there's a job out there that fits. Yes, you may have to go somewhere else. Yes, you might actually have to move. Yes, you may have to. But if that's what it took to get the job, like the job, that job, like the spring out of bed in the morning singing because you get to go to the job and they actually pay you to do what you're doing, that job is out there. I know. I've helped a number of people find that job. A couple of them actually made me jealous because I walked them through the procedure and then they stumbled manifested, found, created that job. In fact, a couple of them didn't even have the qualifications figured out. They just simply looked at, I want to work there. I want to work for that company. And they just showed up and said, I want to work for you. And the company was like, okay, we don't really have an opening right now. Cool. What can I do until you have an opening for you? And they're like, wait, what? What can I do for you until you have an opening? How can I hang around? How can I get on the job training? How can I, is there, you gotta, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could use somebody to sweep the floors. There's gotta be somebody that could use a little extra help. You gotta have one person in this company that could use just a minor assistant. Get coffee. I know where to buy donuts. And it
I
didn't
love to buy donuts.
and it didn't take long before the company went, I don't care what this person can do. Nobody here is this driven to work for us. We got to put them in somewhere. Because no matter where we put them in, they will do the best they can to make it happen. And I will tell you from experience, it can implode on you because of some of the employees who had to bust their rump to get there, who had to get a degree to get that job. And they don't care how good you are at it if you don't have the degree. I know, happened to me a couple of times. Everything was fine until I didn't have a piece of paper that said that I was as smart as they were. I proved I was smart as they were, but I didn't have a piece of paper to prove it. And the attitude shifted. And it taught me when that happens, you can weather out the miserable withering down till they can figure out a way to get rid of you and then look for a job. Or you can start as soon as you notice it. And I think I counted 3 or 4 jobs where I actually had to submit a resume. And 2 of them were just out of common courtesy. So I only got noticed and hired for 2 of the jobs that I've done with a resume, an application. All that suffice to say, back to the idea of the saying, the clothes make, it used to be the clothes make the man. That's how they would sell you a suit or something. You still have to match your energy to the energy of the place that you are looking to work at. Now, if you're trying to get a job at, no, I'm not going to go there, it's still too volatile. If you're trying to get a job in as a garbage man, and you show up in a suit and tie with a leather-bound nice briefcase and some patent leather shoes, it could be a hard sell. And if you show up for a management position wearing greasy overalls and greasy work boots with some mud on it, again, not a fit. Think dating again. And don't forget, you're interviewing them as well.
I remind people that all the time, just
I,
like when they're dating.
yeah, I have seen so many people, well, I just needed a job, so I took this job, and it's a soul-sucking job, and I hate this job, and I knew it right away. First day, I did it, and I'm like, you've been there for 5 years. You knew it the first day? Well, yeah. I'm like, then you're the problem. You're the problem. It just, if you have been showing up at a soul-sucking job complaining for 5 years and haven't been looking for an alternative, you're part of the problem. But it also goes beyond just the standard skill sets. I love how Jim Rohn said you work from 9 to 5 for your
Job.
and you work 5 to 9 for your
I would say passion or for your other job.
you work 5 to 9 for your
I always forget
and
it.
I had it till you said it.
Oh, bananas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, AC race. Gone. But 5 to 9 is where you build your wealth, where you build your fantasy life.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I know that there are some people that are working 2, 3 jobs to stay off the street. I'm not, God bless you. I'm not bagging on you guys. But for the people that work 9 to 5 and then come home, they stopped at Burger King on the way so they can plop themselves down on the couch, Netflix binge until it's time to go to bed while they eat their supersized, and then they wonder why their life is miserable. I'm like, well, what'd you do with those 4 hours? Yes, Lenora.
So I get into conversations about this more often than you think. And there are people that tell me that they hate their job and they don't want to work outside of something else. Like they don't want to work 5 to 9 on something that they have a passion for because they look at it as when is their time? When is their me time? When do they get to take a break? And I tell them only do that if it's for you. If it moves you so much where you feel like I can't not do this. So for me, I can't not spend time with you people. I can't not want more. I can't not find ways to help other people, to think about it, to talk about it, to have conversations about it, to create programs, to create books and things like that. Because to me, it would be like trying to keep a horse in a house. It just isn't going to work. If you find that you don't have that passion or you don't have that passion right now, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're finding that you don't like your job and you don't want to look for a new job and you're kind of at a crossroads of, I don't know what to do next, again, that's totally okay. And continue to contemplate it, because what I find is that people are getting to a point where if they've done some personal growth stuff, if they've done some reading and ideas and they really do start to lean into like, wow, there is more to life than working. I don't want to do that. I tell them no problem. There are possibilities. And what I love that you said earlier was there is a job for you. If you want to do this like completely random thing, there's a job for you. And the reason I say that is because of my understanding now of the quantum field and what I used to call. I listened to a recording that I was on from like years ago, and I called it the pool of possibilities. And it would now people would call the quantum field, the space of variations where all things are possible. If this is your game and you get to decide also what else you want to do. And I think the hardest thing is you can see it out there, you believe that it's possible, but something you here and now is stopping you. And it might be something as what I would say it might be something as simple as writing it down. It's not necessarily easy to lean into the discomfort and to sit with the feelings and to sit with all the emotion that comes up that says this isn't all this resistance that is not comfortable, and I will be the first to say it. That being said, find somebody that you can sit with in that uncomfortable feeling, whether it's TJ, whether it's me, whether it's somebody in the group, whether it's a friend. Find somebody who can sit with you in the discomfort and still say, it's okay. We're just looking at stuff. Because as you do that, you're going to regulate your nervous system and you're going to come out of this heightened sense of, and then you're going to calm down. And then you can make a move. Just one move. Just one. And then just one. Those are my thoughts on this.
I'm so glad you brought that up because you hit on one of the main arguments of one of my clients who is in their upper mid 50s, we're going to call it. And they're freaking out because they're like, oh, well, I hate my job and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I pointed out, I'm like, for one, you're only in your mid 50s. Well, but I got to have my work-life balance and I don't want to be spending work all day and then work all night trying to do this and that. And I said, if you found out that 6 months of 5 to 9 in improving your marketability, your market value, gave you that job, oh my gosh, I never even knew this job existed job, would that be worth it? If not, you still got a long ways to go to be miserable. One of my favorite Gary Vaynerchuk talks was, so you just turned 50. Look it up. And I'll give you the clean Reader's Digest version of it, where he said he gets these people all the time. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm in my 50s and I don't know if my 401k will support me, and I don't know, I'm thinking about ramping down, and he goes, wait, so you turned 50. You're not short on time yet. The retirement age was set at a time where life expectancy was like 67, 70. If you were 70, you were kicking it. And now we got people living to be 90, 100. I mean, me personally, I remember back when I would hear people turning 100, I'm like, oh my goodness, how did they make it? Now that's not uncommon. 105, 110, you're still like, wow, good run. And so Gary says, let's be conservative on this. Let's say 90. You live to be 90. That's 40 years left. 40 years ago, you were 10. When you were 10, were you thinking small? Were you thinking exit strategy? Were you thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to? No, you thought you could do anything. You could be anything. And if you look now at the amount of people who in their 50s and 60s just said, screw this, left turn, and went into something entirely different, something they wanted to do, and became wildly successful at it because they had the knowledge, the experience, they knew what they can't do, and they had the knowledge and the ability to learn to do what they wanted to do. Lenora.
Squirrel just ran and got it. Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, so taking a pivot. um, and people will tell me I can't do that. I can't do that. And I love that you pointed that out because yes, 50 is completely young, and I think that people have really very much bought into this idea of I have to work for retirement and then I can only get this many years to have to myself and I have to put into my 401k, of which, yes, I'm following your thoughts. And of which, quick side note, you started to say yes and a while back. I don't know how many months, but now it's like really sticking out. And now this yes and comes out of my mouth all the time. So yes, and something else that I really do feel strongly about is if something isn't for you and you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but you know what? Let me take the next 6 months or let me take the next year and do whatever you want to call it, a mini retirement, vacate your life, whatever you want to do. Because here's the thing. If you have done something similar to myself, which is buy into I can work a salary job. I can do 40 hours a week. I know how to do that. Boom, no problem. I can do it. And I have successfully survived. In the idea of I've kept a roof over my head, things are going well, I can pay my bills. If you can pause for 6 months to a year and say, I'm just going to go do something. Now, here's a caveat. In 6 months to a year, you cannot just sit on the couch and hope something will happen. Go live your life. Go live your life. If you want to go live on a trail and hike for 6 months, go do that. If you want to go backpack, if you want to go live in a van down by the river, it doesn't matter. Go do whatever you want to do because I guarantee something will shift in your life. And if it doesn't, for some odd reason, you can go back to the salary position. You can return to that because you already know you can do it. You can survive. So go live your life now. Stop waiting until you're 65 and then hoping that your health will be there.
And your squirrel came over and talked to mine.
We're such good friends.
If you understand that the minimal goal is shelter and food, there is income all over the place. All over the place. What will be the worst cancer is I tried that, I won't do that, I don't want to do that. I get it. I've done jobs that I didn't want to do. Kept me off the streets. But my attitude was I was looking for a job when I got this one. And I got this one, which means I can get another one. And then you do your homework, like Lenora said, at night and start researching, what do I really want to do? My gosh, one of my friend's wives, you know what she does for a living? What she has designed for herself? She is a travel expert. She gets paid to travel the world. What it took for her to do that, did she do it overnight? No. She had to learn how to operate a drone. She had to learn how to set up cameras. She had to learn editing. She had to learn how to post, things of that nature. She had to learn how to understand the travel industry, how to speak hospitality. Yeah, it took her a while she was working another job. And then while she was working on another job, or working her job, pretty soon she started taking vacations. Even if they were close to where she lived, she was taking a vacation and doing a documentary. And then her area started getting larger and larger. And right now she's posting videos from Venice, Italy. And they flew her there. And the 3 hotels that she has been in, I want to go there. I want to go there. Yes. And all she did was sent out an inquisition to the hotel manager saying, I'm going to be coming to Venice. Would you like your hotel highlighted on my channel? If so, I just need a queen size room and meals for 4 days. And the manager was smart enough to go, a room? Some meals? That's in our advertising budget. And that is cheap exposure. And I know I've told this story a number of times, even on a more local, if you're not into that. One of my other clients was in a soul-sucking job, and I knew that he loved to hike. And he found a job with the area Parks and Recs department taking care of hiking trails. Which hiking trails? His favorite hiking trails. All of a sudden now he gets paid to hike his babies and take care of them, and gets bennies and a 401k, and makes more money than he was getting paid in his soul-sucking job. And he damn near cried when he told me he goes, I had no idea this job existed. I said, yeah. They're out there. They are out there. If you like horses, there's a horse ranch somewhere out there, something that deals with horses, something out there that needs one of your skill sets. Yes, Lenora.
You can finish. You can finish.
Another friend of mine, her brother had a company that he was just, because of one of his hobbies that he highly enjoyed, found a company that was directly involved with a portion of that in that industry. He went straight to the place. I want to work for you guys. He did exactly what I thought. I want to work for you. We're not really hiring right now. That's okay. I'll sweep the floors. I'll take out the garbage. I will, and he got hired and flourished. They made a position for him because of his enthusiasm and desire to work for that company. Lenora?
One thing, so I used to work in a nursing home couple of years ago. 2020, it was, the height of COVID and stuff, and we were going around and we were talking about what else we would do if we weren't doing this job, as in if I wasn't wearing
Yes.
my speech pathologist role or my speech pathologist hat. And I would always go back to the same thing. I just want to help people. I just want people to feel better. I just want to help give them relief that they're looking for so that they can live their life. And it seemed entirely impossible. Hi, Childers. Are we still in Cabo? Nice. It seemed so far, so far. And even sometime in 2021, it still seemed so far. And now in 2025, it's actually more of what I do in my life. So I get to help people and I do exactly what I wanted to do. And one of the things that always stuck out to me was, so I mentioned I worked in a nursing home. And sometimes you'll see the posts online and you'll see, like words of wisdom or what their biggest regret is, and they're all true comments. They're all very accurate comments. And I would think if I was on my deathbed, especially the one by Les Brown, when he says, all these talents, all these gifts, all these passions came to you. We came to you, and you didn't help us. You didn't take action on us. You didn't execute on us because you were too scared. And he paints this incredible picture. Gosh, I heard this in like 2012. And I could see myself on that deathbed thinking like, what if I don't do this? And that was something that would really get me through certain points of my day. Like, no, it's okay. I can have when I would practice with people, I was so freaking nervous and how it was going to go and navigating my own fears and navigating my own things that held me back. It was extraordinarily helpful. It was wildly uncomfortable, but extraordinarily helpful. So if this is something you do, I just saw Nancy's comment. If it's something you're passionate about and you're thinking, I don't want this to be my life. And if I'm sitting on my deathbed and I'm thinking, man, at 45, if I just stopped and said, screw it, and I took 6 months off, you don't know what could happen. You don't know what could happen, but you don't know what could happen. And that's a great thing. Even Childers went out and started Lunch Money Club on a dream that came to him, which is super cool. There's so many stories, and it's okay if you don't have one. And it's also okay if you're like, I don't know, but I know it's not this. Good. Just run with that.
And speaking of Lunch Money Club, that's another outlet alternative opening doors of places that you can go for additional ways to help people, to try out a different industry, to do something that you love. I mean, if it wasn't for World Ventures, which is a business quite similar to Lunch Money Club, I wouldn't. I don't know how I would have met you guys. People think that you get into something like Avon or Mary Kay or Pampered Chef or Sensi or World Ventures or Lunch Money Club or any of these things for the product that they have solely, and it's not. It's an opportunity to meet new people all over the place while helping people and learning new skills. And the best part about those companies, they can't fire you. You get paid for the work that you do. Straight out. That's it. You don't do nothing, that's how much you make. You bust your butt, you get paid. I know. I've been in a couple of them. Again, that's how I met Dr. David. That's how I'm here. And I had a ton of fun, man. World Ventures, I went on a lot of vacations I couldn't afford normally. Had a blast. And here we are, 15 minis left. 2 topics to go.
Big one.
Anybody got any other input, ahas for close and for prepping? For those of you joining us late, the concept behind close is looking for a job is like dating. Before you commit to it, or before you think you even want to go on the first date, look at all of the options. One of the things I have my clients do is write a list of everything that you can do, every talent that you have, down to the ability to utilize silverware. They're like, what? I'm like, no, at one point in your life, you could not operate a spoon. True fact. And when you start writing down everything that you know that you can do, the more you think about it, the more you come up with. Too many people are like, what can I do for this title? What skill sets do I have for this job? And they leave out 90% of the skill sets they actually have. Well, that's not applicable to this. I'm like, good. But what else is it applicable to? Again, there are so many potential jobs, sources of income, ways to live your life to help others. Was it Jim Rohn that said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want?
Zig Ziglar, I think.
Zig Ziglar, yeah, one of those, yeah. And that's it. That's what a job is. I'll help you get what you want. You help me get what I want. I help you get the work done. You help me with the monies. And I'm going to transition because I'm running short on the minis here. So we're going to move into the next topic, which is the end.
I feel like that should have come with like a dun-dun-dun.
The end. But it's not. What it is what if you kept looking at life as a journey, not as a destination? Too many people, how many races have been lost by people getting close to the finish line thinking that they had it won, and then somebody passes them at the last second? Or if you're going on vacation and you've got this destination in mind. This is where we're going. We're going to this town for vacation. And you pass how many cool things on the way? Well, we don't have time to look at those because we're heading to our vacation. Or just like climbing, if you're climbing a mountain. If you had one position on the mountain that you were going to climb to, and you get there, then what do? Okay, we're here. Yay! Now we're on a mountain. What if you just climbed the mountain because you loved climbing mountains? You loved the feel of accomplishment. You loved the adventure, the finding out new things, the learning, the experiencing. If you hiked up and down the exact same trail every day, 365 days a year, for 40 years, I've nothing against that, but you don't know what you missed. There are so many lists available out there of people who, like I say, midlife or towards the end of their life, looked at their life and went, no, there's got to be something better. And some of them had very good, stable jobs. And when they quit their very stable, good job, everybody around went, oh, you've lost your mind. Oh, they're having a breakdown. Oh, midlife crisis. Oh my gosh, they're going to lose it. They're going to be homeless in a week. Oh, they're going, oh. And they went after something they wanted to do. Colonel Sanders was how old?
65 or something, or
I don't know off the top of my head, but I
He
do
was
recall it.
like 60, 61. And the only thing about Colonel Sanders, totally back against the wall. He was going to restaurants trying to sell them his recipe. He was short-term thinking deluxe. I mean, like, he's right here, like, I need to eat. I need to stay off the streets. Please pay me for my recipe. And I think, luckily for the world,
Him.
they sensed his desperation. Luckily, he wasn't like, hey, I've got this amazing recipe, take it or leave it, but I'm not going to give it to you for free. He may have gotten somebody to sell it to him, or sell it to, and nobody would have known what KFC was. And so finally, he just believed in himself and went, this is good stuff. I'm just going to start making it and feeding it to people. And if they like it, I'm going to make more. Vera Wang, I think, got into, she wasn't even in fashion till her 50s. And finally was like, these clothes suck. Yes, Mike, I forgot about that part. It wasn't just the recipe, but the pressure cooker system that he was selling. Yeah, it was that newfangled stuff. Like, why do we need that? We got a cast iron skillet over here. We just toss the bird in and everybody likes it that way. Why do something different? Because it's really good. Especially back when they were making it the way they used to make it, where you needed like a whole roll of paper towels because your fingers got so sticky because it was made with the good stuff. But the bottom line is, don't stop until the game is over, as in pushing up daisies, as in no more breath left in you. The world still needs people to have purpose, to want to do something. Like Lenore pointed out, you don't believe me, go to these assisted living and retirement home and stuff and talk to those people, the amount of knowledge they have in their head. And ask them if they have any regrets. Ask them if there's anything they wish they would have done more of. You're probably not going to hear, I wish I would have taken less vacations. I wish I would have taken less risks. I wish I would have stayed at that soul-sucking job another 20 years. And because I've got like 4.5 minis left, I'm going to bump into our last topic, which is roses. Everybody knows what a rose is. It's a good day for the roses. But the reason I brought this one up is mindset. And it goes from the quote, there are people who get angry because rose bushes have thorns, and there are people who are grateful that thorn bushes have roses. It's the same plant. It's the same bush. What are you focusing on? I constantly have clients that come to me, and it just sadly, and kind of in a sick, twisted, humorous way, entertains me when if I ask them, what's the worst case scenario? And if I were to give them a full minute, how many worst case scenarios could they give me? Depending on where they're from, in 60 seconds, some of them speak fast enough, they could give me 67 worst case scenarios. And every one of them would be different. And then I would give them the same 60 seconds and say, okay, how many best case scenarios can you give me? You know what the typical answer is? 1. Well, you said best case scenario. That's the best. That's the I said, and I also asked you for the worst case scenario, and you came up with tons of them. Now you have to give me the same. Give me tons of best case scenarios. And they can't. It's a struggle for them to think of how things could actually go right. Well, you said best case scenario. Then apply the same metrics as you did worst case scenario. They were all bad. Give me all good. I guess maybe I should switch it over. Give me good case scenarios. And give me bad case scenarios. Not worst or best. But it still saddens me to hear them. Oh, you want the worst case scenario? You want to know what can go wrong? Oh, and I didn't even think about. Oh, and if that happened. What's the best case scenario then? None of that would happen? Well, okay. But if none of that happened, what would be another best case scenario? That's why it is so imperative to get really good at seeing all of the good things that are happening around you. It's a muscle. It's the what is it, RAS, reticular activating system. What are you noticing? You will find what you look for. Yes, Michael, 100%. I don't know, maybe I'm just a weirdo, but I constantly can see good stuff. I'm constantly reframing people into best case scenario. And now I get paid to help people find best case scenario. Well, find your best case scenario. And that brings us 1 minute past the top of the hour. And for those of you that are new to Triple T or watching the recording for the very first time, we have this is a magical time where it switches over away from me back to you guys on the call. It's open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can bring up a topic or ask a question. And because I like to learn, I will be the last to answer. Everybody on the call gets to answer first. That way I can learn something new. And if after everybody's answered, if I think there's something that I can add to the mix, that's when I will offer up my 2 centavos. So, who's got a topic or a question that we can start off the hour?
I can't decide if we do this as a joke now. Because you hate it so much?
For those of you watching for the very first time, I'm just going to start announcing that, yes, we also have what I call the polite chipmunks. After you. No, after you. No, I don't want to be the first one because I don't want to take the glory away from somebody else who wanted to be the first one. So we're all going to sit here in silence until somebody realizes that maybe nobody else has the question and I'm the only one. Okay, I'm not sure if, I think Mark has his hand up and Lenore has his hand up. So whoever wants to go first, let's start it off.
You can go, Mark. How was
I'm
supper?
just, it was good. It's good. Yeah, no, I didn't really have a question. I went to my 50th high school reunion last Friday, and amazing how people have, you know, you think that, I went to a private high school, and you know, but they had great expectations of us, and if you look at how many people actually excelled and became future leaders, it was very few. And the question is again, I think that again, some people they start out with all this promise, and why do so many dreams fall by the wayside?
That's a great question right there.
I don't have an answer for that, but there's so many different opportunities that and like TJ said, having the right mindset that this is an adventure and you should live it to the hilt. People get lost from that. They're young and idealistic, and then life smacks them in the head and the face with house, mortgage, kids, and they forget their dreams, and
Yes.
so but I'd like everybody's input. Why do people give up on their dreams so easily?
Who's got an answer for that?
I think we could do a dissertation on this one. Childhood. Do you want to go first?
Life, like you said, knocks you down. Pain of rejection. seeing no progress. I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of that right now and just like, wow, seriously? Oh my God, I don't understand. And then you go to the old story, you know, like, how do you make God laugh? You tell him your plan. So,
I've never heard that one.
oh, there we go.
Wow.
So, but I just know it will all work out. I don't know how, but it will all work out.
Good answer.
Very
Lenora,
much so.
you had something?
So, where does it go? Why does it fall by the wayside? I think for lots of different reasons. And and I think this is something that people, all of us hear, and some of us choose to keep listening and to keep leaning in. They quite literally hear something along the lines of, is this all there is? Or what is this for? And I think there's different levels of people, very much so. I think there's very different levels where I know Holly is often referred to as NPCs, and they're basically characters who are kind of like background people. And I think there are definitely people who just stay at that level or they're just in the background. Then I think there are people who hear a call and they're trying some things. And if I listened to everything on YouTube, I would successfully tell you that I was failing and that I just didn't watch enough YouTube videos and that they're just making it up and it's just not for me. And then I think there's another level of the deeper you go on the inside, the higher you rise on the outside. As in you have more satisfying conversations outside because you've done the inside work. You find people and you start to recognize, oh, they heard a call. That sounds kind of similar. Oh, they followed a call. And when you take the perspective of everybody's doing, there's no difference between you and Tony Robbins. There's no difference between you and Les Brown. There's no difference between you and Jim Rohn. There's no difference between you and this person who we decided somewhere in the culture that they were famous. We all started at the beginning. We all had to learn a language. We all had to figure out how to walk. We all had to figure out how to feed ourselves. What are they doing? What were they doing? And how deep are you willing to push yourself in those uncomfortable positions of wrestling with your thoughts, having conversations with the voices in your head? And to me, that's where the biggest change has been. And there are times where you can easily say, that's not for me, and just push it aside and keep muting and keep lowering the volume on that call. Absolutely can. And then there's times where you're like, okay, I'm exhausted. This is around 343,000, but I'm going to go again for some reason. And then God has a good little chuckle and you find yourself back in finding a new something to break, a new something to navigate through. And for me, that's where I think the difference is how, and trust me, I get in conversations like this all the time, especially with people that I live with that go, if you look at the culture, if you look at books, they're always telling you something else. And you could keep shoveling this. I just didn't figure it out yet. I just didn't want it fast enough. I didn't want it hard enough. I didn't go do this. I didn't do that. You absolutely could get stuck in that. You could. And you can also come hang out with you wonderful people and have conversations that quite literally feed your soul and help you go through the week. And you get these perspectives of, you know what? Thankfully, we all get to come together. Thankfully, people are in good health. Our significant others are in good health. The people that we cherish are still here and we get to keep talking about them. That's not talking about them as in like a less than positive, but talking about them in a positive and finding those lessons and finding that. To me, that is satisfying. And it's part of this ongoing upward ascension that won't end until I decide to go 6 feet under. A little bit of a
Great
tangent.
answer. Thank
That
you.
was me.
Holly.
So first of all, are you able to hear me? I'll see if I can come on camera here for a bit.
Eh,
So as I understand it, the question is basically why is it people don't get to their dreams? And the thought that came into my mind is a combination of skill sets, mindsets, resources, and oh gosh, there was a fourth one. And then I'll also say a fifth one, to reach a dream, you actually have to have a dream. And it amazes me how many people don't even have a dream in the first place. With skill sets, I will say there's kind of two sets of skill sets. There's the hardware and the software skill sets. The software are the ones that you can learn, and the hardware are the ones that, if you want to be a pro basketball player, I'm not saying you can't do it if you're 4 foot tall, but it might be a little bit harder for you than somebody who's 7 foot tall, for example. So, I think that there is some wisdom in making sure that you pick something that goes with your skill sets, your hardware skill sets. Knowing the difference takes wisdom sometimes too. I'm still working on that myself. When it comes to soft skills or the software skills that you can learn, you still have to find a competent teacher. And so that's why I started thinking about resources. So, your ability to find the competent teacher, your ability to, if you live in a third world country and you need, funding, and, you may not have as many opportunities as if you live in Silicon Valley, for example. It doesn't mean you can't do it. You can still do it. But it's knowing where to find those resources, knowing how to find those resources, knowing how to utilize those resources, knowing how to screen those resources, I think is a piece of it too. But I will say, and this is, looking at myself too, I think mindset is probably a greater percentage than we realize. And I think Lenora covered a lot of this too, that people look at the end result. They see somebody who's already succeeded, and they did not see how many years, how many hours, how many failures it took before they finally got success. And so if you look at a Tony Robbins and you say, oh, look, he's got, X number of people in his audience and he makes this amount, and, you're not seeing behind the scenes how many people he employs. You're not seeing behind the scenes, how many years it took him to get that many people in seats. And so somebody gets out there and they expect, in a year to be exactly where Tony Robbins is without putting in the same level of work that Tony Robbins put in to get where he is. Just picking on him a lot, but, obviously anybody, whether it's Elon Musk, Bill Gates, anybody, you have to have that mindset. The mindset is what gets you through those times when you have the setbacks, you have the failures, when it turns out that, because sometimes that resource that teaches you isn't the person. Sometimes it is the failure that teaches you. I use the word failure in quotes because, as we say, there is no failure, there's only feedback. But yeah, so making sure, sometimes it's a lack of even having a goal, because you're not going to get to a goal if you don't have one. But sometimes it's the next most common is lack of the mindset of believing somebody else. I can't do that. They could do it because their IQ is so high. I can't do that. They could do it because they have a rich dad. I can't do that. They could do it because X, Y, Z. And a lot of those things, the people who actually did it didn't have a rich dad. The person who did it didn't actually have a very high IQ. So we assume things, even though that is the thing, your IQ matters, your height matters, depending on what you're doing. But I don't think it matters as much as I think it do. Like I said, I think a 4 foot, if you really care, if that's all you cared about, a 4 foot tall person probably could be in the NBA if they really, really, really cared. The question is, do you care that much? So anyway, I've been going on for a bit, but those are my top reasons.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for sharing.
So
Mike?
Spud Webb was like 5 foot, what? 5'5", 5'6". He was in the NBA. Spud
Yeah.
Webb. He dunked the ball over folks. Now back to Mark's statement. Also, I think if you go back in the way that people are raised, NASA did a study on geniuses with children, and they found that 90% or 82% of children under 5 showed potential to be genius,
Yes. Yes.
and they educated out of them.
Yeah.
So that's when your dreams get sucked out and you start giving up and you change different things, and it's interesting.
Yes. Holly.
What Michael just said also reminded me, limited mindset versus growth mindset. If you haven't read, I think it's called Mindset by Carol Dweck, talks about limited mindset are people who believe you're born with a set of skills and you're either good at something or you're not. Growth mindset says, no, I can learn the skill and it's going to take some failure to do it. So that one thing can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mark.
I was just going to say, building on what Michael said, the something I heard the other day is that children are in that imaginative theta, so it's a lot easier for them to imagine and to dream for the first 7 years they're alive. I don't know how that correlates into future, but if they're, think about children, they're imaginative. They can, just go into trance at the drop of a hat, But for the first 7 years, they're exclusively in theta.
That's why so many of them have imaginary friends and can come up with the most beautiful, elaborate scenes, and why it's so easy for them to play, tea. It's tea time. Let me serve you some tea. They're actually seeing the tea coming out of the pot, going into the cup. And it's us adults that are playing along going, oh yes, this is wonderful tea. It's so, the one word kept popping up while all of you guys were talking, and my squirrel is over there going, and that word is stories. The stories we tell ourselves, especially when we hear the stories other people tell us. And even if that story is in the form of a question. Well, how do you expect to do that? Why are you going to do that? Oh my gosh, why? That's kind of dumb. And these stories start to creep in and compete with the stories that we had before that built those dreams. I would love to do this. I think I would be great at this. I want to do this all the above. And then it becomes frame wars. Who can hold the frame the longest? And yes, life happens. Believe me, I know. And sometimes those dreams change. The part that bums me out is when people's dreams don't go straight horizontal or up. It's when they start chipping away smaller and smaller and smaller. And you hear their stories. Well, I couldn't do that because I had to give up on that because. Some are legitimate and some of them are, I believe, merely protective stories from the subconscious trying to make sure that we don't change. Because change is scary. Change is in the future. And based on our past, we might not be able to accomplish that in the future, so we're just going to shut it down now. And that's why I don't know if Wayne Dyer came up with the quote or if he just re-quoted it, but the most valuable land on the planet is a graveyard. Because that is where all of the dreams, all the thoughts, all of the stories, all the imagination went. And if we could just figure out how to get there and get that information, those stories, those dreams out, it would be the most valuable property in the universe. So, what are we willing to bury in the ground because we couldn't bring it out to light while we're here? You all are here for number 177 because I just finally decided I've been wanting to do this for 3 years, and you know what? It's a new year. Let's give it a shot. Let's see if I can do 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, and at least I'll have something on a YouTube channel that I can go, yeah, I did a couple things, and here we are, 177 of these. So,
Can you believe it?
yeah. And it doesn't have to even be something as big as this. What did the child say to the horse? But I can't see the trail. What did the horse say to the child?
And you see the next step.
Yes.
And just do that.
Then just do that. As long as you're walking,
You're in good shape.
yeah. And I love
that,
the
Mark.
group hug me. And I love the quote that the person that is walking slowly around the track is still beating the person who's sitting on the couch. And it's not all about motivation. I forget which person talked about that. I think it was Jim Rohn. It's not just motivation, because you can motivate an idiot and all you got is a motivated idiot.
I did not hear that one.
You gotta put the motivation in the correct vehicle in the correct direction. So, anybody else got anything they want to add to that? Mark, how'd we do? Did you get the answer you were looking for?
In spades, absolutely, as usual.
Well, then I think Miss Lenora had her hand up with an idea or a concept or a question, and if not, I know Holly's got about 38 of them that she usually.
Holly, do you have one?
I do, but I think it's Lenora's turn.
No, you're good. You're good. I can keep mine.
Lenora
Okay.
had her hand up first, and I've gone first many times the last few weeks.
I love listening to you. I think it's great. One thing that keeps sticking out in my mind, and it just keeps expanding over the weeks, is receiving. And I went to an air show this weekend, and we were there for several days, and I went in with a totally different perception of what I thought was going to go on and what I was focused on. And I didn't get what I was thinking I was going to get. And somebody had asked me, "But what did you learn? What did you get from it?" And I often go to these things, and I often go out into meetings and conferences and whatnot, and I think, what can I give? What can I give? What am I giving? What am I doing? What am I there for? And this time was, what did I get? And I thought that was very, very powerful, as in, what did you learn? What did you receive? What were the gifts that you received? It doesn't always have to be this next like neon sign, like, this is it, Lenora, pay attention. And I thought that was really, do you want to see the other side? It was like, does slow down. Turtle steps. But it doesn't always have to be this next marker, this next thing to declare of, oh, this is what I'm doing next. And I thought that was really powerful because it let me come back down into the moment and go, huh, what did I receive? Well, I got to see this, and I got to see this person, and I got to have that experience. And one very cool story was I went to go see the Thunderbirds, and I'm a huge, huge Thunderbird fan. And the Air Force, they're just the precision, the dedication, the commitment, it just leaves me in complete awe. And I met a former Thunderbird who he was on the Thunderbird team. I believe he was a pilot, and his daughter now is also on the Thunderbird team. And they are the only father-daughter duo in history. And I think that's pretty cool. And it wasn't like, hey, Lenora, here's your next book idea. Or, hey, Lenora, here's where you're going to go next. It was just a really something like, wow, never would I have ever thought about that, and never would I have known that had I not been there and had that conversation. And we hear stuff like that. And I don't think I hear it, but it didn't really resonate with me until the end of the weekend when somebody said, oh, well, what did you get from it? What were your takeaways? And they were asking in such a inquisitive, inspiring way, in such a curious, genuine way. And the only time that I get those types of questions is in these types of groups. And that I think is really special because so many people are on the surface are like, hey, go to the grocery store and what's the weather? And here, let me complain about something. And this time it was taking it in and it was experiencing it and it was looking at it at a different way, going, oh, wow, I collected that story. I collected that experience. That was really cool. I got to receive that. So what did you guys receive over the last week? Something to
You have
consider.
an answer. Holly.
Man, there's so many thoughts going through my mind. First of all, I received a ton this last week. TJ's been bailing me out. He knows I've been having a lot of panic attacks. For those of you who know Patty Lou, she's helped me out a lot. I'm so blessed to have the group of people that I have around me. I did have two thoughts with this. So first of all, I was thinking about, for those of you who've read Give and Take by Adam, oh crap, my mind's blank. Adam Grant, I think. Anyway, he talks about the world is kind of divided into givers, takers, and matchers. And roughly 20% of people are takers, roughly 20% are matchers. I probably talked about this before, but 20% are takers, 20% are givers, and the rest are matchers. And matchers are all, when they go into a relationship, it's all about making sure everything's even. They're keeping score. But that may sound mean. They keep score on behalf of other people, which we'll get into in a minute. They give with their matching. Givers just give and they say, you know what, even if I don't get back immediately, I trust this went out in the world, it created value, that's all that matters to me. And takers are just about, I'm going to take everything I could possibly get and give as little as I could possibly get, basically, is how they approach the world. And so I was just in matchers. So the thing that people forget or don't realize is they've done the studies, and the people who are on the bottom of most metrics, who make the least amount of money, who get the lowest grades in nursing school, that sort of thing, are the givers. But the people who are on the top are also the givers. And so what you were talking about, receiving, the reason why this is important is I think that, matchers, the reason, first of all, that the takers are not at the top, that it's the givers, is because the matchers come in and they play referee. And they see these givers giving so much and they say, that person needs to get rewarded for what they're doing. And they see the takers and basically they take them out. So, the matchers are looking out for the givers. So, they're doing that out of the kindness of their heart. They're not getting anything for it. It's just, evening the scales. So I guess the point is the takers need to learn that giving actually gets you ahead, because they say a lot of takers, they look at them, they actually started out as givers. And somebody along the way told them the reason they were at the bottom is because they were givers. And so they started taking, not realizing that's not the right response. But then the givers, who are also, need to learn that giving actually gets you ahead, because they say a lot of takers, they look at them, they actually started out as givers. And somebody along the way told them the reason they were at the bottom is because they were givers. And so they started taking, not realizing that's not the right response. But then the givers, who are also, it's okay to receive. So there are two things that seem to, three things that seem to make the difference between the givers at the bottom and the givers at the top, at least as far as I understand it. First is a willingness to receive. So a lot of givers, they're doing it for people-pleasing reasons and they're not willing to receive. And so that power of receiving is so important. And when people are giving you something as a giver, it's okay for you to receive. You're going to send that out into the world 10 times bigger than you got it. That's a beautiful thing. But they don't think they're allowed to. Yes, as a giver, it's a beautiful thing. And the message there is sometimes the greatest gift you can give to somebody is to receive. And, so if you're a giver, sometimes what you need to give people is to receive. Another one is having healthy boundaries, of course. So it's okay to give and not get back, but it's better to invest your, energy wisely to where it's going to do the most good. And then the third one is time, because sometimes people don't realize you're a giver up front. So those masters don't necessarily know that you're a giver up front. They might think you're a taker, they might think you're naive, or they might think you don't really mean it, or whatever. So sometimes you got to give the time for people to see who you are, see that you're trustworthy, see the takers for who they are, see that they're not trustworthy, and let the karma balance out. So anyway, so when you're talking about receiving, it's, and once again, the takers need to learn, probably don't need to learn to receive. They probably need to learn it's okay to give and trust that you will receive. But for the givers, one of the biggest lessons givers need to learn is it's okay to receive, and it's beautiful to receive, and the biggest gift you could give to other people is to receive. So that idea that, I think in my mind, one of the things that came up a lot in talking with TJ that came up in my mind is a lot of times I was seeing interactions as if, if I take, or not take, but if I receive, there's the difference between, of course, is if they're offering it, you're receiving it. If you're taking it, they didn't offer it, you just took it anyway, kind of situation, if that makes sense. But I was thinking receiving was hurting the other person. And so I needed to get it through my mind. Actually, the thing that's hurting them is not receiving. They give you this beautiful gift and you don't even choose to receive it. So I was just thinking how beautiful it is. You go to something and it's okay to receive and you learn what you receive. Another thought that came to me, of course, is that sometimes unless you take a minute to recognize what you received, you won't receive it. If it's knowledge, if it's an experience, if you don't take the moment to reframe it. But CJ's been helping me a lot this week too, because I've had some things go down and he's like, okay, what did you learn from it? What good thing can you take from this, even if it's something hard? But then the other thing that came into my mind too is just a timeline as well. So when we talk about what am I going to get from it, what did I get from it? It's fine to have those, but it's important to have the balance because that's living in the future or living in the past. And it's okay to look to the past, what can I take from it? Look to the future, what am I going to give myself to the future? That's okay. As long as, I don't know if it was Jordan Peterson or Stephen Fry, I can't remember, but one of those two was talking about, if you go to a concert, what is the point of the concert? What did you get from it? Oh, I can't go to it because I'm not going to get anything from it. And they were talking about if it's a beautiful piece of music, you don't have to get something from it to make it worthwhile. All you need to do is be present and have the experience. And so that was the other thing that popped into my head is it's great to give ourselves something from the future. It's great to take something from the past. I think that makes all of our experiences more valuable. But I think it's also important that we're making sure that we balance it with making sure we have times that we're present and just have the experience. Because there's so much we can miss if we're so worried about this higher level and, not living in the moment. So anyway.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Every time. Absolutely love it.
Who else has another answer? Something to add to that? Or should I say, who wants to follow up Holly's answer?
I loved it, Holly. Thank you.
And
That's you, TJ.
I like the point that both of you made is a lot of it comes down to being present and mindfulness. Understanding that it may not always be something tangible. Like you went to the air show. Well, what did you get? Did you get a jacket? Did you get a signature? Did you get a picture? I got all sorts of things. I got experiences. I got memories. I got interaction. I got to see things that most people don't see. I got experiences that may help me with somebody else's experience or inexperience in the future. Lenora just shared a story that could potentially help all of us with other people. One of the Thunderbirds became part of history because she was the daughter of a Thunderbird, and they became the first father-daughter duo to ever fly in the Thunderbirds. So if there's a young lady that goes, that'd be really cool, but I could never do that. Well, let me tell you a little story. And that's part of living while you're alive. I witnessed so many people surviving in a living body. They're zombies. Thank God nobody told them yet. Or maybe they need to be told. You're a zombie, but your body's still alive. Do something about it. And I think that's the common theme here is outside of certain level of things, it's up to you to live a life, to build a life, to have a life that makes you go, let me tell you what I've been doing. And you don't have to become Tony Robbins. You don't have to be Evel Knievel. You don't have to be, but live a life that when you lay down your head at night, you're excited to get up in the morning because you get to do the thing that you get to do. I've met people because of their upbringing or how they grew up, they are excited to be able to mop the floors in a building. They're ecstatic, and you can tell. And I've told people, don't you judge them, because if that is their nirvana, if that is their happy place, thank God, because I've seen the miserable hating their job mopping, and they do a poor job of mopping. Why? Because they hate it. This is the stupidest. And when they're done, that floor doesn't look a whole lot better than when they started. And the person who decided that they are going to be the best floor mopping person that building has ever seen, what do you see when you walk in that building? Drop your foot on the floor. It doesn't matter because you can eat off the floor. In fact, it's probably just as clean as that styrofoam container you brought the food in the first place. Mark.
I think you can apply more about receiving Someone once said that some people can read War and Peace and come away from it thinking that it's a simple adventure story, and some people can read the back of a bubblegum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe.
Yes.
um, I think you have to be able to appreciate what you're receiving at all times, and because there's a profound amount of when you're in that mindset to receive. Again, you can unlock vast realms of significance with a simple experience. So, and some people, like I said, they could have all these experiences and they don't have they don't appreciate what the gifts that they did receive.
And I'm gonna pop in. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. I'm tabling my squirrel. I'm so sorry. I just saw the hand.
Lenora, go ahead. I'll go right after you.
I can't.
Okay.
It's gone.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Turn the turtle around. It's okay. Yeah. Take
It's
the
really
step.
gone. It's really gone.
Turn it around. You can do the step. Do it.
I can really turn. I really, it's gone.
Yes. Okay, so I was going to tie this because we're talking about like money and different things as far as Mexico. Minimum wage down here is 200 pesos a day. Do you know how much that is? It's like $10.
I was gonna say, is it like 10, 15 bucks a day?
Yeah. Yet a majority of the people are happy. When I went to Fiji, I took 17 people scuba diving in Fiji. And the schools, they don't let the Fijian people, the natural Fijian people, pass 8th grade. Now, the Indian Fijian people can go up in schools from what they were telling me, like Vijay Singh, the golfer, and things like that. They can climb to college and high school, etc. But Fijians, not necessarily true, but they're happy. And, they're poor, but they're not impoverished. And so, like, for example, on this dive boat, we met this guy, his name was Missy, and he was the hunter for his tribe. And on this tribe, he lived in a village and he would go hunting wild boar with a machete. With a machete. And these guys, I mean, are ripped. You could just see the musculature is fantastic. And he'd get him a boar to chase him, and he'd grab a tree and swing around and come and whop the head off the boar. And that was dinner for the next couple weeks. And if you miss, the boar is going to get you, and you're done. But they're happy people. The point is what I'm saying. And it goes back to what Mark said in the beginning and what we were talking about with kids. And, you look at our social media and you look at the way we're brought up and, you got to have the best phone and you got to have the iPad and, you've got to have the car and you've got to have this boat. You got to, look at this cup. You've got to have this cool cup. If you don't have this cool cup, you're not going to do it. You go back in time to close-up commercials. You remember close-up the damn toothpaste? You had to brush your teeth close up so you can kiss the girl. I mean, it was all about, you got to do this in order to get that. So kind of crazy. Did your squirrel come back, Lenora? Yes.
It
Okay.
did. So when Mark had said that last piece, and I love that you point out that they're happy. And I think it's a very different culture, especially, yes, with social media, but I think also very much up in the Northeast, it's very hustle, very like be over caffeinated and have a million things to do. They glorify a to-do list and you should be busy, and they glorify not sleeping. And one thing that I had started, it was at a TEDx event, and she started to flip it around, she was talking about, and this is going to go around and it's going to come back. She was talking about her relationship with money as if it was a lover, as if she was in a relationship with it. And the way that this woman had shared it was so good. Like, I was sitting with a couple of people and we were all just sitting there like, oh my God. Because the way she was talking as the money, as a person. And she's like, well, I keep showing up for you and never enough. Like, I keep trying my best and you never appreciate me. And I was, oh, huge insights in there. And if you think about this, and this is where I think the culture doesn't necessarily communicate this, and I really do think they want you addicted to it, because you don't think. You just swipe up and you just go into like a complete doom scroll zone. Your talents came to you. Holly's brain works so beautifully, and it's, oh my God, I love listening to Holly, and it just fires so magically. And Childers, you get to get these downloads and you see business in such a beautiful way, and you're thinking, okay, how can I connect this person with this person, and what can they do here? And it's great. And these are your talents, these are your skills. TJ, the gift of talking in metaphors for days on end just comes so naturally. These are your talents. These are your tools. These are gifts that were quite literally given to you. And yes, you've had to work at them. You've had to build them. You've had to enhance them. And you've had to make adjustments. But they're yours. Nobody else's. And nobody else can do what you do the way that you do it. That's the beauty. And when we can start to really receive that and say, oh, I'm very specifically tailored this way. Wow. That's something to think about. And you just notice it. And you quite literally receive them differently, because people can brush them off so easily. Oh, it's just what I do. But it's what you do so friggin' well. That's amazing. I can't whittle anything. I cannot literally do anything with these hands and woodwork, because you all know it, I would lose every last finger of mine. It's not my skill. It is not my skill. And I'm okay with that.
But your nails.
If it was my skill, I'd have to spend a lot of time. We need those very special gloves. But for some of you, that's a skill, and that's amazing, amazing skill. And to appreciate it and start noticing it and going, wow, that is really kind of cool. And then you get to start sharing them in a completely different way.
Your nails look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. I try. This would not go well with woodwork if I'm walking around like this. Cody Sanchez, that's what you put in there?
Yeah, she just did a story. Cody Sanchez she said she was talking to a billionaire. And the billionaire asked her, said, how much money do you have? She's like, I don't know, about this much. He's like, look, you have to treat your money like a lover. Yeah. If you ignore your money, it will leave you. Yeah. So you got to love it. Love your money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I told, it was a great one. And he had said to her, essentially, he knows every single penny, every single morning, because he wakes up and he checks it, because he appreciates it, because it's important to him. And especially when we get into the feeling of it, here we know cognitively, we can know cognitively, oh, it's just a number. But then it means something to us. When we can shift that quite literally in our body so that it feels better, that's the frequency. That's the change. And that's the real time in the moment change, which nobody explains, because we keep thinking change is in the future when change is only in the now. I'm going to put that on a YouTube video.
So Dagari, be here now.
I've got something, squirrel kept bouncing over here that kind of ties in with this, ties in with a lot in the first three topics that I want your guys' input on. When hiring, which is more important, personality or skill set?
Personality. I can teach you to do many things. I can't teach you to personality. Hi, Fran.
Hey, Fran.
Can you teach them, Lenore? You're such a good teacher.
Holly.
I'm going to have kind of a middle of the road approach to this one, because I think it depends on how you define personality. I think a lot of people, when you say, "Oh, I'm hiring for personality," they're going to hire for really surface level, stupid things that really shouldn't matter, but they decide to make them matter because they can. I think the same thing happens in dating as well. I went to a training for dating where they talked about getting your funnel upside down. And they said what happens is that the first step, you filter on these surface level stupid things that you shouldn't be filtering on, and you pick a whole bunch of people out of your funnel. But then once people get down in your funnel, you make it very wide and you have almost nothing that will get that person out. So it's like, oh, I've invested, in you, and that there's nobody else around. So I've got to put up with abuse. I've got to put up, so I think personality does matter. But I mean, I think there's a difference between somebody who is honest, somebody who is going to, not be a yes man, so to speak. Somebody who, there's that side of the personality. And then there's the personality of, oh, who tells the best jokes, or, as Lenora was saying, everybody has kind of their special place, their special talents. And I think sometimes we filter somebody out because before we get to know them, we don't understand their sense of humor, or before we get to know them, we don't understand that, maybe they have autism and they are, overwhelmed by that light. But, next time you see them, maybe they're going to be somebody completely different. So I think that, personality probably matters more than skills. But I also think that they're not necessarily mutually exclusive, because if you have the skill set, there's a reason you got that skill set. And part of that is going to be your personality, but it's going to be your deeper personality, your core personality, not necessarily that surface level. You can get it in 2 seconds personality. Not that that doesn't matter, but I'm just saying, like, if we filter when we only know 2 seconds, sometimes we filter out the right people and filter in the wrong people because it means less than sometimes we think it does.
I'll reframe the question then. You have 2 applicants. One scores 7 on personality, 6 on skill sets. The other one scores 7 on skill sets, 6 on personality. I'm going to go for the personality. And the reason being, like Lenora said, I can teach you the skill sets that I'm going to need in my workplace, but I can't teach you the personality to get along with the people in my workplace. And some people are surprised or amazed when I tell them that I've gotten jobs that I didn't apply for, that I wasn't actually fully qualified for, but is because I came in with my personality. And when they said, well, have you done this before? And I went, it's been a while since I've done this, so why don't you show me how you want it done and I'll do it that way instead. And I had them show me what they wanted me to do for the job. And then I found out there was somebody that had better skill sets than me. They were the problem. They were the reason the other person left, and there was an opening for me to show up. I'm like, oh, yeah, you got a little problem with Asholio, Stupidicus, and Moronicus all work for you. And it doesn't take much vinegar to ruin the punch. So if you find a job that you don't think that you're like at the top tier qualifications, and I've got all this wallpaper that applies specifically to this job, then bring your personality.
Unless you're having surgery, in which case I rather have the skill set than the personality.
Yes, but you're sleeping anyway, so it doesn't matter that Dr. Ignoramus is a big whatever, as long as he stitches you up correctly. Holly.
I'm going to actually throw in there. I used to say that about surgery, but I've actually come to believe that even the personality of your surgeon matters, because if your surgeon is such egotistical and as, rules the room with tyranny, nobody's going to call him out if he's doing something wrong. He's not going to be learning. He's not going to be. So once again, I think that, we got to work. It does matter which part of personality we're looking at, but I do think that personality matters the most, definitely, as long as we're looking at the right things.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up, Fran. Yes, you're right. Michael.
I will second that on the doctor and the surgery and stuff like that. We met a electrocardiologist, and he had like long fingernails, and they were not well kept. They were, they looked. It's like, yeah, and he was just really matter of fact and kind of a jerk. Like, man, I wouldn't want this guy working on me.
Right?
Nope.
Yep.
So yeah, no. Personality is important, but also skill set.
Yeah.
So.
Well, kids, we got 3.5 minis left. Any comments or clarifications on all the stuff that we covered?
I'd like to throw a little plug out there. If anybody's looking for affiliate or affiliate commissions or anything like that, we could use some help. So if you know an influencer or a micro influencer, or you're an aspiring influencer and you want to be an influencer, we can work something out.
Okay. So. One of the things that I've told people, it may not be for you, but you may know somebody who's been looking for this. If you don't know what it is, at least take a look at it so that you can go through your list of people that you know. Because I guarantee you there's somebody out there that you know that could definitely benefit from it. We're all about helping people because that's the kind of people that we are.
And I hate asking for help, but it's time I ask for help. So I'm asking for help.
Asking for help is a great way to receive exactly what you need.
Yes. Thank you.
You're
And as
welcome.
long as we're going to talk on help, I've had a number of people that I found that needed my help and didn't ask. And when I found out, I went to them and I'm like, what? And they, well, I didn't want to bother you. I didn't want to inconvenience you. I didn't want to do it. And I said, okay, if I had something I needed help with and you got the opportunity to be the one to help me, how do you feel? Most of them smile and they're like, oh, I love doing that. I said, then don't rob me of that experience ever again. If you need help, I'll do it. And I will get that warm, fuzzy feeling because I got to help you. I'm not going to judge you for needing help because I've needed help. Everybody needs help at some time. So, if any of you out there need any help, and I have the ability to help you, and you don't ask, stop robbing me of my happiness of being able to help you. Let me have that warm fuzzy and let's get you helped, because that's what we do here. You my peeps. You guys help me out all the time. You show up here, so I'm not talking to myself like I have done in the past. Probably will do sometimes in the future. And we help each other out. So thank you. You help me out with offering up your time, and I don't know how to reproduce it and give it back to you yet. So thank you for that. You help us all out with your input, your knowledge, your skill sets, your comments, your feedback, your answers. And we don't even know who it's going to affect yet, because this recording is going to be on the internet until who knows. And if somebody out there could benefit from something we talked about tonight, send them the recording. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't cost me anything. So, and again, if you know anybody that is a little tight on the coin and wants to save money on doing stuff, get a hold of us, because Lunch Money Club, that's about helping people live a better life. Why pay full price if you don't have to? So, love you all immensely. I hope you have an amazing week. Go out and live it full throttle. And I hope to see your beautiful faces back here in 7 days for episode 178. For those of you on YouTube, love you, Mom. And I'll see you guys back here next week.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, TJ. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.